That could be good for the archives.
All right, I'm showing 6:32. Should we dive in?
I think so.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, thank you. As Sarah mentioned, oh my gosh, thank you everyone for being here on the best weather day of the week. It's been a bit chilly and everything, but what a gorgeous day we had today. But we are super excited for you all to be here, and we'll just do a quick round of intros, even though you're going to get to meet these two amazing people who are with me here tonight a little bit later, but I'll just kick it off. My name is Ben Bauer. I'm your district governor nominee. I'll be your district governor in 2022-2023. I also had the privilege of serving as our interim public image chair for the first half of this role year. And we'll talk a little bit about what happened during that time as I kind of introduce the rest of the PI team and stuff. But before I go too far into any of that, I'll kick it over to Sarah. And Sarah, if you could pass it over to Jody, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Arnbeyer. I'm the president-elect with Rotary Club of La Crosse Downtown. And I've also been serving on the district public image team.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Jody Wiedock. I am a member of the La Crosse Rotary Club, and I've been past president.
Awesome. I really appreciate both of you being here, and I appreciate all of our guests being here tonight. You are in for a treat, I am sure of it. So one thing that we talked about as we started to kind of put together this evening and some of the promos for it was this promise of delivering some storytelling to you. So I had to start the night off with the story. So you're seeing a picture of headphones on your screen, and you know, we've been in this year of lockdown or semi-lockdown or quarantine and anxiety and wanting to travel and go places that this is immediately the story that came to mind for me, and it's I think really fitting for what we're going to be talking about tonight. So my wife Katie and our son Charlie, we've been pretty diligent throughout all of COVID. We've been staying at home. We haven't really been going to many places. We haven't taken some opportunities to see some family and stuff because we felt it was the right thing to do, as painful as it was and everything. But all of that said, we've had a blast as well and spent a lot of great family time together. But I have to admit, we did cheat once in a while, and our guilty pleasure, our little COVID cheat for the last year was spontaneous trips to Target. So we just go there all messed up, we do our thing, you know, and we just kind of stroll, you know, and you get to do a little bit of people watching, you get to do a little bit of spontaneous shopping and stuff like that, which feels good, especially when you get that stimulus money, right? But you're walking around the store, just you know, seeing like fresh new stuff coming out was just like another way to prove that the world was still turning and everything's going to be fine when we get through this, right? Mm-hmm. So and obviously just enjoying the time being with each other and being somewhere other than our living room or our backyard. So one of our, we have this routine, right? We walk through the store a certain way every single time. And our second stop, well, actually our third stop, first is all of Katie's clothes, then is all of my clothes, and then electronics. And every time we get to electronics, the first place I go to is the headphone aisle, because Target carries some Apple products. I'm a little bit of an Apple geek, and I've just been waiting to have the opportunity to try on their new full over-ear headphones, the AirPods Max or Pro, whatever they're called. Haven't had the chance to yet, for the record, because apparently Target in Marshfield doesn't carry them. But they do carry some other really nice headphones. And you know, you've all been there, whether it's Target or Best Buy or some of those other stores, right? You walk by and you see the little play button next to all the headphones on display. you press the play button, and maybe even before you put the headphones on, you can maybe sort of start to hear the music, but also maybe not. You hit that play button and maybe you hear a little bit of noise. Maybe it's still silent. So Charlie and I, one of our first times kind of going through the aisle, which, you know, it's not like we hadn't been to Target before COVID happened. I just realized like we never like did the thing where you try on the headphones at the store, right? And so I hit the play button, and you know, Charlie didn't really see anything happen and didn't hear anything happen. And I was like, oh, you gotta try them on. And he was a little afraid of them, and you know, obviously we're being really mindful of germs and all that stuff, right? And I was like, it's okay, you can put the headphones on, it'll be okay. And so there was a really nice pair of Bose noise canceling wireless headphones. Put him on his head, and it was playing some of The Weeknd. And as soon as I put the headphones over his ears, guess what happened? His eyes lit up, right? The sound was so deep and rich, the noise canceling made the rest of the environment go away, and all that he heard was, you know, Blinded by the Lights, or whatever Weeknd song was on when we first had that experience. And as I think about this story, and I think about like, okay, you know, Ben, land the plane, let's connect this thing to PI, right? I think that Rotary is the song. Rotary is the music that's playing through the headphones. Sometimes we need to press the play button to get the engine turning and get that music playing. The headphones are public image. And I think about how for so many years, hundreds of years, you know, over 100 years, right? Rotary's been doing all of this great stuff, all of this great work. And we've kind of done it in a world that kind of looks maybe like this. Okay, I'm maybe being a little too harsh here. Okay, we'll go to about here. Okay, so think of all the things that Rotary has going for it, the foundation, all of our great service programs, all of our great Rotarians, the impact that we make on our communities, and how long some of those things have existed. Youth Exchange, RILA, like I said, our foundation. Public image is kind of stuck in about the phase of this. Actually, I'm going to take that back. Public image isn't stuck there. That might be a perception. There's a lot of great things happening in public image, and we'll talk about some of those things tonight. But public image is a relatively new effort compared to a lot of those other things that happen within Rotary all the time. They're just ingrained in our organization and our clubs and our members and what we do. It's actually only about a 10-year effort as far as Rotary really ramping up its public image influence and efforts throughout the world. An extensive study was done in 2012 that gave us a lot of great findings and insights. If you're curious, there was this 167-page report that came out of it. If you're really curious, I'll send it to you, but I promise you it's a really big document. You maybe don't want to read the whole thing, but lots of great info in there. And one result of that work was our current logo, which was adopted in 2013. So that logo refresh was definitely an important step, but a small part of the overall need of public image and awareness and resources for helping to spread the word of all of the great work that we do, all of those great programs and service that's been around for so very long. And the training around all of that, the leadership around that, those resources, all of it continues to grow and continues to take shape. And it really does play a really important role in every other aspect of Rotary. And these 4 that you see on the screen are only 4 of them. There's so much that happens in Rotary. If you've been a part of the rest of the conference, I'm sure that you've seen and learned that the depths of Rotary are so deep. There's so much great stuff happening on between our 7 areas of focus and Rotary action groups and our youth programs and stuff. But let's try and keep it simple here. And these 4 things, they really do feed off of each other. putting public image on the same level of importance as our programs, like foundation and membership. It really is an important step for us to all take. They all support and enhance each other. Public image tells the story. Members hear it and give to our foundation. Potential members hear it and join. Members participate in our programs. Some programs and activities are supported by the foundation, and around we go, right? So what's public image like in District 6250? Like I said, when I kicked us off for the first half of this Rotary year, I was our interim public image chair, and got some of those basic fundamental public image efforts going at the district level. And one of the first things that we did was really do a quick analysis of the state of public image within the district. And we really kept it simple and measured some of the, like I said, some of those more basic or fundamental things that that are important to our public image efforts. Does a club even have a website? If they do have a website, is it active? Is it current? Do they have some of the best practices that you would expect for a club website to have, like a clear join call to action, a meeting location, some of the things that you're seeing on this dashboard that you're seeing on your screen right now? Do they have an active public image chair within their club? Are they on social media? Which ones? And so we divided the district up by our assistant governor groups. The public image team kind of divided and conquered, and did that analysis of our clubs as best as we could with kind of a grassroots, homegrown sort of analysis. And we got a lot of great information out of it. As you can see, there's some really promising stuff here. You know, over 80% of our clubs actually have a website, and a lot of them adhering to many of those best practices that you would expect a club website to have. About half of our clubs have a designated public image chair. A little more than 11% of them have a public image chair, but that's also somebody that serves in a role like club president, which if you've ever been a club president, pretty difficult to fulfill two roles like that, but definitely possible. And I will say definitely better than the yellow, which is no public image chair designated at all. And that's actually, a little over 40% of our clubs don't have anyone designated as a public image chair. Lots of clubs on social media. Facebook's definitely the most popular. That's our place. But a lot of other clubs that are on some other channels too, like Instagram, Twitter, and things like that. So lots of great findings. We know that there's lots of work to do. So some clubs are so small that even if someone is in that dual role of club president or say club secretary and public image chair, I really do think that is so valuable as opposed to not having anyone designated as a public image chair, because at least you're getting the information. You're at least getting the resources. And then maybe when that new member joins your club that has an interest in things like public image or PR or marketing, it might be a jumping off point that you can give them because you've already received some of that information. If you're fortunate enough, you maybe have a club that has a public image team, maybe a public image chair within the club, and then a couple other people within the club to help do things like manage your social media, create those that artwork that you need for your events and things like that. So I would say if there's one thing that you might remember from tonight, and there's going to be a lot, so forgive me, and this probably won't be the last thing that I ask you to remember. But if there is one thing I could have as a takeaway for tonight is go back to your club, see if you have a designated public image chair, and if not, let us know how we can help you find or identify that person within your club, because we really do see that as an important role. Speaking of a team, super proud to share this. Some of you have probably seen some of these faces, or maybe even seen this exact slide at another meeting or a presentation that we've done throughout the year. But we've built a excellent public image team with people from all walks of life, different levels of expertise in different areas, from media to design to marketing, PR, promotion, creative writing. A really, really excellent group here that also is represented. There's people that are representing all areas of our district, which is just so fantastic to see as well, from the north to the south, Madison, La Crosse. So really super proud of how this team has come together. And again, just not again tonight, but I've said it a few times over the course of the second half of the year. Thank you to Patty Hernandez for stepping up and stepping into the public image chair role, an important role within our district to lead this team. And we have a lot of great things in store as this team has come together. Last thing that I'd like to just call out before I transition us to the next part of the night. These 4 people are our public image champions. This is a new role, something that we're really developing and growing throughout the district. And, really we, at the district, our charge is to strengthen and support clubs. So these champions are definitely a resource or a bridge to the rest of the public image team, maybe to another public image resource. And we're really happy to have them, and you should get to know their names if there's a way that they can help, like I said, either as being the resource that you need or a connection to another resource. That they're there for that. And we'll see how this role develops and grows and continues to strengthen and support our clubs as we see it happen throughout the district over time. So with all of that, one of the people that you saw on the screen was Sarah Arndt-Beyer, and she introduced herself earlier. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. Let me stop my screen share here. And Sarah, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Give me a moment here while I share my screen. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. So to kick off the storytelling portion of tonight's session, Jody Wiedock from Rotary Club of La Crosse Downtown is going to be sharing her story about her very first international project. And then we're going to break down what makes it such a great story and share some tips for how you can share your Rotary story. Take it away, Jody.
Thanks, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Well, my story starts on June 8th, 2019, in the La Crosse Center Ballroom. I was sitting at a table with other Rotarians listening to the featured speaker on the last event of the 2019 District 6250 conference. And I'm guessing some of you were there too. Do you remember what it was like to be at an in-person conference? Remember that low rumble of Rotarians greeting each other, happy voices of recognition, maybe the occasional voice that booms and cuts through the crowd, a voice kind of like Governor Pritchard. There are glasses tinkling while you search the room for district friends. You're kind of checking out pins and badges of everyone in the room. Maybe you dash out to check on your silent auction bid. There's salad and bread at the table, and if you're like me, you might be sneaking a bite or two, and you're aware of the faint smell of dinner that's about to be served. It's probably chicken. Anyone missing those conference chicken dinners? I am. I really am. And at the front of the room is the stage, a podium, a huge screen, and the busyness of mic checks and other IT fiddling. Well, that night, I was really looking forward to the featured presenter, Razia Jan. In the Rotary world, she's a star. Our district governor at the time, Bill Hull, spoke highly of her impact on the lives of girls in Afghanistan. And as he often exclaimed, she is a CNN hero. I was ready to listen to this woman who I already had great respect and admiration for because of Bill's stories about her. Razia Jan was introduced. And as she climbed the stairs to the stage, I noticed what a diminutive woman she was. definitely not the kind of traditional, polished American style presenter I'd created in my mind. Her presentation was meandering, flowing and weaving together her own story of growing up in Afghanistan at a time when girls and women had rights, were educated, and had careers. But under Taliban rule, all of that changed with severe oppression of women, including denying them education. And how years later, now living in the United States, Razia took it upon herself to reverse the damage done by the Taliban by opening the Zabuli Education Center, a school in Afghanistan. As she spoke, I heard her story of perseverance, courage, inspiration, effort, and success in opening a school that was only for girls in a very dangerous part of the world. Razia commanded a presence that captivated every Rotarian in the room, including me. Sitting in that conference room, surrounded by other capable Rotarians, I thought to myself, wow, she is amazing. I haven't done anything like that. Immediately, I was comparing my Rotary engagement to Razia's impact and thought, I'm just a regular Rotarian. I've never had that kind of impact. Any of you ever feel that way? It might sound a little familiar. But then a realization. If Razia can stand in front of a bulldozer in unfriendly Afghanistan for something she so strongly believes in, if she can hold her ground and reverse years of oppression of girls and women, I can certainly do something. In her presentation, she clearly stated a need, and it was for a bus. The school needed a new bus to safely transport girls to school. And I thought, I can't build a school in Afghanistan, but I can write a grant. I can surely help her get a bus by writing a Rotary International grant. So I left the conference with a couple of firsts in my mind. One, the incredible motivation, and it was stronger than that. It was kind of like this pull to really make a difference. And the second was to engage in an international project. So after the conference, my will to help Razia get a bus for the Zabuli Education Center, it grew. I started to just realize it was just unmanageable to me. The fear, the potential violence, the risk the girls and their families were taking just to get a basic education. I thought about my own path to education, and it was such a breeze, and so was my daughter's. I never once feared for my life or for her life for something as normal as going to school. It really strengthened my resolve to help in a meaningful way. I really wanted to get a bus for Razia. As I thought through the how-tos of what the project might look like, I thought, this should be easy. That really was the word, easy, because I thought it would be like any other Rotary project. I would pull together a committee, we'd have meetings, we'd write a grant to Rotary International. It's a perfect fit, done. And that is what happened. I pulled together a committee of very enthusiastic Rotarians who were all in. We had great meetings. We wrote an inquiry to Rotary International. And then Rotary International declined our proposal. Yeah, they declined it. I couldn't believe it. I read the rejection several times, took the news to the committee, and they couldn't believe it either. That's when I realized, well, this project just got a lot harder. So we did what Rotarians do best. We kept meeting. And we came up with a new plan with more strategies. We named our project Wheels of Hope. We developed a wonderful presentation. We wrote a moving appeal letter. We created a GoFundMe page. We wrote for a successful district grant. Our club presentations were scheduled. We were ready to launch. And then the entire country shut down. With a growing pandemic and our country shutting down, I felt defeated and I felt stuck. What about this project? Can we even do it? I pulled the committee together. This time, using Zoom and found the will to keep the project alive and the dedication and energy of my fellow Rotarians. The committee was definitely committed. Delaying or canceling the project wasn't an option. The need had not gone away. The Zabuli Education Center still needed a bus. Razia and the girls, they were counting on us. So we kept meeting by Zoom. We shuffled our strategies and we slowed down a little bit. We had to. A worldwide pandemic was a game changer, so we adjusted our expectations. Our timeline stretched out. We adapted our plans, recognizing the pandemic actually presented some opportunities. As it turns out, our beautiful presentation was perfect for Rotary Zoom meetings, enabling it to get our project in front of so many more Rotarians. We got even more creative, like adding a matching walking challenge to the mix. And because every presentation brought us closer to our goal of $42,000. And because Rotary meetings were virtual, we were able to invite Razia herself to speak to our club. And we got another burst of donations. But we were still $1,300 away from our goal. And I was starting to feel the wear and tear of the project. It was dragging on, and the donations stopped coming in. Just as I was starting to feel defeated again, an email popped into my inbox, a glorious email that I read several times to make sure I was reading it correctly. It said, "Jody, I'll give you $1,325 to put you over the top. Attach it somehow to Tom's walk and advise him. Glad to participate. Muskie Al." Just like that, we made goal. The check arrived a few weeks later, and finally, after 17 months, the project was done. Making goal was a tremendous feeling of relief, accomplishment, and deep gratitude for the work of the committee and the many supporters. But honestly, my real sense of excitement and reward came later. And that's when I learned that when Razia would be traveling to Afghanistan in March, just last month, to help with the start of the new school year. And top on her list was purchasing a bus.
Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. Thank you for letting me be myself.
I still get goosebumps when I see that video, and I've seen it lots of times. My Rotary story ends with the smiling faces of girls on a bus in Afghanistan, safely on their way to school and a better life. You all have a Rotary story to tell. You just may need someone to help you draw it out. Someone like Sarah, who saw a story I didn't recognize. Through her questions and attentive listening, my story emerged with a plot and characters and conflict. Sarah's up next with really simple guidelines that will help anyone tell their Rotary story.
Wow, thank you, Jody, for sharing your Rotary story. So as Jody was telling her story, even though I couldn't see your faces, I think many of you were nodding along, smiling as you remembered our last in-person district conference, nodding in recognition at the idea of just another project, frowns and grimaces when she talked about how COVID derailed things. When you listen to a story, your entire brain lights up as your senses and emotions are engaged. This makes stories much more interesting, memorable, and persuasive than facts and data alone. Storytelling was what started this story, Jody's story. She was so moved by Razia's story, she could picture Razia standing in front of that bulldozer and what courage that took. She could picture those girls with no prospect outside of marriage, and it made her consider her own daughter's opportunities. Those connections inspired her to action, to challenge herself to take on something she had never tried before. As you were listening to Jody's story, you were connecting with her on a personal level. Perhaps you were thinking about how you would have responded, or remembering when you were in a similar situation. You were rooting for her to succeed. Hopefully, it reminded you about why we do what we do, why we are Rotarians. Hopefully, it inspired you to take on a new Rotary project this year, or to engage with Rotary in a new way. Think about the opportunities that you have to put storytelling to work for you. Let's say you're talking to a business owner, trying to encourage her to pay for a membership for a member of her staff. Or you're talking with a prospective member, or trying to solicit support for a project. Instead of reciting how many members Rotary has, we've all done that, consider telling a story about how Rotary has made an impact in your life. Give an example of how Rotary gave you an opportunity to grow your leadership skills. Tell a funny story about something that happened at a fellowship and the friends that you've made. Let's say you're soliciting support for a project. Instead of sharing facts and figures, tell the story of what it felt like to watch children enjoy the playground that you helped build, or the feeling you had when you dropped off boxes of clothing at a homeless shelter. As you start crafting a story to share, begin with the end in mind. What lessons do you want to teach? What's the moral of the story? Why are you telling this story? A great story usually progresses towards a central moral or central message. Define that, and then craft your story with that focus. It's also important that you consider your audience. What's likely to engage them? What are they trying to accomplish? As Jody worked on her story, she knew that many of you would have attended a past district conference, and you would relate to the detailed description, checking your silent auction items, the chicken dinner. She knew that would resonate with you, so that's why she included it. She also knows that you're Rotarians. You want to do good in the world. So she chose a story about perseverance, helping others, and the power of Rotary to help inspire you to deepen your Rotary experience. Good stories follow a simple structure. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, set the stage. Describe the surroundings. Use your senses. What could you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell? Describe the inciting incident. What set the wheels in motion? Then we come to the middle of the story. Here's where we encounter the rising action. Good stories make you wonder, where is she going with this? They build intrigue. Don't be afraid to embrace conflict. In real life, there's conflict, there's struggle, there's disappointment. Don't be afraid of that. It's part of the human experience, and it's relatable. A good way to communicate this is to describe expectation. I thought it would be like any other project, right? Versus reality. We got turned down for an international grant. COVID happened. Things took longer than we thought they would. Good stories build and release tension. Finally, try to end your story with a satisfying conclusion. What could be more satisfying in this case than the purchase of the bus? Share what you learned and what you want audiences to take away. That being said, remember, the primary goal is to communicate effectively, not to tell a story or evoke emotions. These are just tools, not an end in themselves. As you work on your story, make sure you're including the 4 P's: people, place, plot, and purpose. Who were the people involved? What did they look like? Why were they there? What were they thinking or feeling? Place, where was the story held? How can you bring that place to life for the viewer, reader, or listener? Plot, what happened and why? What was the challenge and the resolution? And finally, purpose, what's the moral of the story? What's the message you want people to take away? What action do you want to inspire? Through working on crafting the story of the Razia's Bus project, Jody and I also found that the process of developing a story was a really wonderful way to reflect, to think deeply about an experience, and to consider it from new angles. As you work on developing stories, you will likely find it's a meaningful, introspective process, hopefully one that you enjoy. So I encourage you, give your experience in Rotary some thought. Consider how you can tell those stories to inspire action the next time you're working on a project, recruiting a new member, or trying to spread the message of what Rotary does in the community. We've compiled a few resources for you. So if you're really interested in storytelling and want to take a deeper dive, make sure to check these out. And you'll find them to be some good resources to help you go a little further. So before we move on to the next portion of tonight's presentation, I think we have time if there's some questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any come up, so I'm going to jump into the next portion, public image and membership campaign. So your district public image committee has partnered with the district membership committee to work on a campaign this year to help drive membership to Rotary clubs in our district. This marketing campaign consisted of 2 components. One, paid social media ads. Oh, I'm seeing some questions come in. Jody, I wonder if you want to hop in and maybe give a little bit more of an update about how things are going.
You mean on the project?
Well, yep, Rob's got a question. How do they keep the girls safe? And Judy added, I think we are all anxious to hear more.
Oh,
Any comments on that?
well, this is almost real time. The video that we got to share with you, the thank you video, we just got last week. So we know that school started and everything seems to be going well. And that's about all I can share right now. How they keep the girls safe, I don't know all of the details about that, but what I've heard is that since the school has been around for a while, there's a real protectiveness that's been developed within the community. So even though there might be some folks who aren't really supportive of the girls getting education, there are enough people in the community watching out for them and protecting them that there haven't been any incidences, at least that we're aware of. And then safe transportation is one of the primary ways they keep the girls safe. So many of the girls have to travel from a great distance. Walking is not an option. So that's the best I can answer that one, Rob. I see how many girls are attending the school. Good question. And I'm really sorry, I don't know how many are in each class, but I do think that since the school opened, they've had about 700 girls go through the school. And Sarah put a link to Razia's Ray of Hope, which is a nonprofit here in the United States that kind of is like the arm of the organizing the school and fundraising. A lot of your questions can be answered there in more detail. It's a really powerful and moving website. It's worth your time to check it out. I'll see if there are any other questions. Okay, I'll keep watching for a few more minutes to see if something pops in, Sarah.
That's good, Jody. You left them wanting more.
Right. It was an incredible experience. Yeah.
Okay, so feel free to keep popping those questions into the chat. I'll keep going on our public image and membership campaign, and we can circle back as needed. So as I mentioned, the District Public Image Committee partnered with the District Membership Committee to create a marketing campaign that would help drive awareness and membership for clubs in our district. There's two components to this campaign. One is a paid social media campaign. So we are running ads on Facebook and Instagram, targeting people that are interested in community service within about a 10-mile radius of all of the clubs in the district. And we chose to use video ads. Lots of research shows that video ads tend to perform really well. People like to engage with video. So we're using video ads for that. And I've got, I think, an example of one. So those ads are being run both on Facebook and Instagram, as I mentioned, and then also on YouTube. And I'll play the video for you. This is part of the People of Action campaign that Rotary International put out. And so these videos are available for any club to download. And in a minute, I'll show you where you can find it.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are People of Action. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Around the world, generations of leaders build new friendships and solve problems, turning great ideas into reality. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org.
So nice short little video. There's two versions of this. One is 15 seconds long and one is 30 seconds long. And while that might feel really short, we actually generally find that the shorter form version performs a little better. Pro tip for you here, if you are doing video advertising or just organic posts on social media, it's really helpful to use videos that have that caption like you saw across the bottom of the video, because lots of people will be scrolling through social media without their audio on. So having those captions helps provide a little richer experience. So as I mentioned, you can find these videos and use them in your own club's marketing. If you create an account on Rotary.org and navigate through My Rotary to the Brand Center, and then click on Images and Video, and then Videos, you'll be able to find these videos that we're using and many others. So that's a wonderful resource to quickly get video content that you can use to help promote Rotary in your communities. Phase 2 of our campaign, we'll actually be producing our own video. And the concept for this, it will be short interviews in which Rotarians make the statement, I joined Rotary and then they'll insert an experience that was special to them. So often we focus on why people join Rotary, but that really only tells part of the story. And it's wonderful when you talk to people who've been in Rotary for a while and they have this awareness of, I joined for one reason, but I stayed for another, because they start to discover all that Rotary has to offer. So the idea behind this phase 2 video is that we will showcase the depth and breadth of all the wonderful things that are Rotary in a very short, consumable way. So the ads are leading to a new landing page on the District 6250 website. This is accessible through what's called a vanity URL. So joinarotary.club or joinrotary.club. So these are just kind of fun ways to promote access to this page quickly and in an on-brand way. So you can feel free to, in your marketing and promotions, use those to send people to the district landing page, or of course your own club websites. And on this landing page, we've included a couple of key features: an introduction to what Rotary is, our 7 areas of focus, and then a little bit of a parallel with that idea of I joined Rotary and. So we're using photos and text to showcase some of the different benefits that people enjoy from being a part of Rotary. And then we've got some testimonials across the bottom. As we know in marketing, social proof is really powerful. So think about using that in your own marketing for your clubs. Testimonials can be really powerful. And then finally, there's a simple contact form that visitors can fill out to request more information about Rotary and to be matched with a Rotary club in their area. The membership team is monitoring this and then making those connections. Okay, there's some fun ways that you can participate in this campaign as well, and it doesn't have to involve running paid ads or producing videos. A good way to start is to use these branded social media graphics to promote your club's message of I joined Rotary and. So think about the next event that you have, the next fellowship. Try to snap some photos. Cell phone photos are okay. Just set your quality settings as high as they will go. And try to get photos of Rotarians in action. So rather than posed photos, it's best to get kind of those action shots with multiple people in the photo. And then you can upload these in Brand Center under Materials, Create Your Own, and then you'll look for this People of Action Facebook post. You can upload that, choose the text overlay that you want, and download that really beautiful looking graphic to use in your own social media. And then think about what you want to post with that, considering those stories looking beyond just why people join, but what they've actually experienced as Rotarians. Okay, so the membership campaign, the marketing campaign is running through May 10th, and then we will likely extend that. This first round, we're kind of considering a little beta test, but we've been really pleased with the results so far. For the Facebook ads, we've been able to reach over 2,300 people, and with the YouTube ads, we've generated 640 views of that video. So we're pleased with the results. Any questions?
I like Francis's prompt of anyone ready to share their story. We'd love to hear and see some of those. Glad you like it, Judy. And Sarah, you'll be here all night, right?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So if you're still generating those questions, we'll definitely have some time throughout the rest of the night to address those, and feel free to throw them in the chat anytime. We'll keep things rolling here, but we'll definitely take a pause, if not for my voice, to get to your important question right away. So I'm going to keep us moving. Thank you so much Jody for your story, and Sarah for all of your input and excellent resources and your work on the campaign so far. It's really been awesome to work with you this year, and I'm really, really excited to see what's next for public image in 6250. So the rest of our program tonight will be some of those pro tips, some ideas to get you going on ways to support or enhance your story, and a whole bunch of resources. I'll throw the disclaimer out there right now. I will try to pace myself and make sure that you're not drinking from the fire hose, but I also admittedly do have a lot to throw at you, so my apologies in advance if it feels like a lot, but we'll be sharing all this stuff out afterwards, and your PI team's here to help you along the way too. So we got a great example of a story from Jody tonight. We got so much great information from Sarah tonight. And storytelling is such a huge, crucial aspect to what we do and marketing. And sometimes those stories are enhanced by some things like most commonly an image, right? Or a photo or graphics and stuff like that. We're going to focus on photos for a little bit, and we're going to talk about some tips to help you tell your story through photos, and doing it using 6 tips. So 6 ways that you can kind of build your photo into something that'll make your photo big, bright, and beautiful, and also help enhance and support your story. So heads up, here comes the crowd interaction stuff. Get your fingers on the keyboard, ready to go. We're going to dive into each of these a little bit, and we're going to start with composition, okay? So before I blabber on a little bit more, in the chat, you see this, these couple examples of photos under the title of composition. Share in the chat, what about the composition or the makeup, the way that these photos are framed, makes them interesting? What do you like about them? What do you think? What do you think is missing? And I'll wait for a couple of minutes.
And I don't
Oh gosh, you're not seeing my screen.
Yeah,
You're not seeing
there we go.
First timer here. Good Lord. All right, how about now? Holy smokes. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see the whole list. These will be the 6 tips of telling your story in photos that we're going to dive into here. Capture those if you want to do some pre-work, and then we're going to dive into composition here. So a couple photos on screen here, and I know they're on screen because I'm seeing them with you now. What about these photos make them interesting? What do you like? What might be missing? Gary, people in action, working together. Yeah, for sure. There's some group work happening on that roof, right? Yeah, the reflection in that one on the right. Yeah, Karen, they're up, they're elevated, right? So some excellent ideas of composition and interesting composition here. I guess one of the first pointers I'd give as it relates to composition is a focal point, right? And there's so many things going for each of these photos, but to keep it as high level as I can, you know, we see this group of people on the left. The roof line creates almost like this arrow showing your eye where to go and what to see first, right? Both photos follow the rule of thirds, which you may have heard of, where you take your photo and you cut it into thirds horizontally and vertically, and you put those key focus points on those thirds on the horizontal and vertical planes. So we see the running, jumping man up higher in the top third of that image. We see the group of people in the top third over in that image on the left. We have some foreground interest happening here. Francis mentioned the reflection. We fill the frame, which maybe your original photo that you take doesn't do that, but we'll talk about a couple things that you can do to fix that later. And specifically the image on the right leaves some space for text. The one on the left probably would work too. You might have some limited space up top, or you might need to get creative and cover some of the bottom part of the image to include some text if you're promoting an event, or you need to put a message over the image or something. The other thing that the image on the right does, that's an important part of composition to think of, is the direction that his motion is taking him, right? Imagine try and take that picture and cut a line right past his open hand that you see there, as though he was jumping off of the edge of the photo. It would look weird. It would look like, where's this guy going? He's jumping off the edge of this photo. With all that open space off to the side of him, you can almost like feel the jump, or you can see where he's going to land and stuff. And it creates some of that motion, which is something we'll be talking about in a little bit here too. Okay, next one, keyboards at the ready, emotion. Throw some thoughts in the chat. What about this image gives you some emotion, or what emotion are you seeing? Happiness between people, Bill Hole. Yeah, the smiles, right? It's almost like I wonder if they caught the person with the Rotary shirt on, the Rotary logo on the front of her shirt, like saying something to her. It almost looks like she might be saying something, but it comes across as a smile. Obviously, the other person receiving it has that big bright smile too. So yeah, they're enjoying the work. Rotary, friendship, like you can start to like create some connections here and connect the dots and almost tell a little story in your head just by seeing this image, and the emotion really makes that connection and does that. Next one. Oh, so many great comments. I'm so sorry to cut you guys off. Keep it going though. We're on our next one, motion. What are you guys seeing in this one? I can't help but make it feel a little bit too obvious, right? But coming right at you, Kathy. Yeah, for sure. That pile of, we'll just call it mud. We'll pretend it's only mud, just being shot off that shovel into the wheelbarrow in front of you. It's almost like you're holding the wheelbarrow, right? Yeah, this is just a really, really cool photo, and just that little bit of action coming off of the shovel, just it might as well be a video. You can see exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, nice horizon, Karen. Yeah, love it. So motion can just add interest to a still, and it's just an important aspect of that. Those really powerful ways you can make an image enhance everything else that goes along there. Yeah, Judy, you want to know more. You want to know what they're up to. Okay, attention to detail. I was excited to share this one with you guys and see what you have to say. I have that shirt, by the way, the Rotary Network shirt. Karen, the shirt, yes. You almost have like this text. You do have this text like ingrained right into the image, right? What other detail we see in here? Replacing the old with new plants. Yeah, you can see what's happening here, right? I'm going to pick on this photo a little bit, not to devalue it or anything, but to show that there are a couple things that maybe could make this photo even better. And maybe depending on what your use of it is. When I looked at this photo, one of the first things I saw was the dude's butt. Yeah, Gary, orange shirt, guy is cut off. Like, oh man, what's that dude doing there? It's like if I would have waited a second, then he would have kept walking around the corner. This photo would have been even better. But the shovel's laying on the ground, the guy's standing there, a couple little things that, couple more details would have made this thing just perfect. That said, like I say, not trying to devalue this image or anything like that. It's a good one for sure, but a couple more details maybe would have made it just a notch better. All right, get closer. So the one on the left shows them shooting, but take the photo crew out, all those people on the right, and still a cool photo, right? You have this, dude in the field and the trees in the background, the sky. That photo on the left is pretty cool as it is, for sure, and maybe is appropriate for what you're trying to show or the story you're trying to tell. But that one on the right, like And especially with, you can tell there's some lighting support going on there. I mean, his face just illuminates and glows, and that sky kind of almost wrapping around him, and all made by getting down low and right up in there and getting closer. Some people will say get closer and then get closer, because you think you're close enough, to get that picture, but then just go a little bit closer and get there. Of course, if you're trying to capture a big scene, getting closer might not always work, but especially if you're trying to tell a story of a small group, get closer and you can see the emotion on the face, you can see the work in their hands and things like that. All right, last one, fix it in post. Now this is a photo that many of our clubs probably have, right? Like handing out the awards at the event, or maybe the big check photo, things like that. What are we seeing in this photo, besides the obvious correction that I made by cropping out our district secretary, Debbie Foxschrader on the right there. Sorry, Debbie, if you're here. But yeah, I mean, just a simple crop like that just cleans it up just a little bit, puts the focus totally on what's happening on the stage. And, you know, fixing it in post, which is maybe a term that comes from the video world or whatever, just shoot the thing and we'll fix it in post, right? But it definitely applies to photography as well. And sometimes those fixes are really simple. A simple crop like this, maybe a tiny bit of color tweak or something like that. And definitely, if you have the tools, the resources, a designer or a photographer at your fingertips, there's a lot of stuff that you can do in post to make a photo even more compelling through editing and color and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have that, don't worry about it. There's some really simple tools that can help even do some of the tiniest fixes to really enhance an image. The next thing I'm going to show is something that Sarah kicked off for us as far as the People of Action campaign, and might even that campaign might even, or the artwork associated with it might even be another fix to your image. And I specifically use this one because I think, you know, looking at the previous screens, it can look like you know, a club meeting that many of us have experienced, or an awards banquet or something that we've been to and stuff. You know, you see the hard flash, you know, it's not like this is some photo taken with some fancy lens that bends everything or anything like that. It's a photo that, you know, you could take on a cell phone. Any of us could take, right? But by adding some words in the People of Action campaign over the top of it, you can immediately start to shape and tell a story. Even if you read nothing else, but you just see the word mentor over the top of this image, you can start to tell yourself a story. And when you put it all together with our brand and with Together We Mentor, you know, immediately those dots start to connect and you can really start to see impact coming from an image. So the People of Action campaign really strives to bring the Rotary story to life for those that maybe don't know us. It does this by showing Rotarians as the people of action that we are, leaders who work together in communities to inspire, transform, connect, and celebrate what's possible. Individuals who get things done and have a great time working, growing, and learning together. The campaign also motivates, engages, and inspires current and prospective members, as well as donors, partners, and supporters. Narrowing the gap between awareness and understanding will take some time. So if this is the first time you've seen this or the 1000th time you've seen this, it's okay. It takes time for something like this to really be ingrained in a population. And we're going to show you a few more tools to be able to put this campaign into action if you'd like, and use it within your club. But before I do, just one more quick example of how just an image of a shovel in the ground can instantly be supported by a story through the People of Action campaign. And you can start to imagine what transforming this ground and manipulating it with a shovel might do for a community or a garden or whatever's going on here. And to help really connect the dots and tell that story and make sure that people know what the heck the thing is that you're talking about. And then it's not just a shovel of ground. We can do that, a shovel in the ground. We can do that with some words. So the list that you see here are the words that are available to create the People of Action campaign ad artwork, which I promise I'm going to show you in a second here how exactly to do it. As you can see here, looking at the list, there's not too many things that we do in our club that can't be covered with one of these really impactful words that definitely were chosen with some intention. And together we, as part of the headline, and should and must be used as part of the image. So select that action verb that best represents your message. Think about what your club was trying to achieve or how you approached the local challenge that you decided to address. And just think about what action verb best describes what you did or what you're trying to do. And bonus, only these words. So if you have the ability to get creative and find the font that Rotary used, which I'm not going to say because I feel like I might be encouraging bad habits, don't do it. Use these words and only these words, and Rotary put the work into choosing these words because they're available in all languages, they're easily translatable, and they've been vetted by RI's PR team for legal, trademark, and all of that. So, okay, you know how to take this image now, or maybe you already have it. Choose that image and take and use those pictures that are composed in the way that supports the claim that we are people of action, right? There's photos that work for this and there's photos that probably don't, even if you put the campaign over the top of it. So, you know, be intentional about the photo that you choose, use some of those tips as far as composition and emotion. Definitely avoid the grip and grin photos, you know, two people shaking hands, or the big check photos that we all see and know and love or not. Remember that the headline is "Together We," and then that powerful word. So a shot of an individual might not work here. And I would actually say, like, try and feature multiple people in it just to strengthen that idea of together. Make sure you represent the diversity of your club and the people that you're serving, whether that's age, ethnicity, gender, profession, anything like that. And maybe intentionally do that to tie it to the message or the call to action that you're trying to create by using the campaign. And maybe most importantly, ask yourself, will people in my community connect with what they see in this photo? If after you've taken the image and you've put the word over the top of it and you're maybe just not feeling it, well, maybe you're too close to it. Ask a couple other people, especially people that you know will trust, that you can trust, and they'll give you honest feedback. And if you're not feeling like there's a connection there, maybe try something else. And then develop the body copy to support it. So this is especially important if you're going to use the campaign on social media, in a social media ad, similar to the one that the PI and membership team is doing throughout the district, or if you're using this artwork on a landing page on your website, anywhere, if it's likely that the image, even with the Public of Image campaign artwork put over the top of it, it can be supported with some body copy. So in that, the body copy, or the main part of your ad, it's going to tell your story in a brief, informative, and inspiring way. This is where, in as few words as possible, you'll make your claim, offer statistics or other proof of your impact, and then issue that call to action. Tell people what you want them to do. Keep in mind that you should cover those three things in your body copy, and if not, your ad could become confusing, might feel incomplete, or maybe even a little misleading. So I'm just going to pause for a quick sec and check out the questions. Leroy, can we use the words people of action? Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to bounce back. So you can see off to the right of the Rotary brand here, it shows people of action next to the Rotary logo. And that's definitely a part of the artwork. And I've even seen where the Rotary logo and People of Action is used with artwork or even like standalone on a piece without the together we and the verb. So People of Action is definitely a group of words that you can use if it supports a message you're trying to get across. Sorry, I went a little too far there. I'm just going to do one last check for questions.
Another question, can we use serve to change lives?
Not totally sure where precisely you might want to use it, like in tandem with the People of Action campaign. I'm not quite sure how it fits. If you're using Together We Transform, Rotary, People of Action, and then adding that to it, it might, I wouldn't suggest that it'll get overwhelming, but that's, serve to change lives sounds like a Rotary International theme in recent years or something like that, but maybe I'm making that up. So yeah, we can use it. I'd caution using it or trying to like squeeze it into the pre-existing campaign. Next year's theme. Thanks, Laura. I knew I heard it somewhere.
And then Peggy asked about service above self.
Yeah, our motto for sure. I would put it in the same space as serve to change lives. We can use it. It can be a part of your message, maybe a part of your copy. But I wouldn't try and force it into the People of Action campaign. Karen, it's all the social proof I need, for sure. Okay.
I had a question about hashtags.
Hashtags. Sarah, can I pass this one over to you?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take this one. So research shows that hashtags are less effective on Facebook. So on your Facebook posts, consider skipping the hashtag. On Instagram, though, they're tremendously effective. So go wild. But a word of caution, it's a good idea to check those hashtags before you use them, because there's been some scandals where companies or organizations will add a hashtag to a social media post, not really understanding what that hashtag actually means, and then they can get into some trouble. So on your Instagram app, you can look at what others are using, do a search for the hashtag you're considering and see what it pulls up. And if it feels appropriate and on brand, it's a great way to help your posts become more discoverable within the Instagram algorithm. And for anyone that doesn't know what a hashtag is, it's when you precede a word or phrase with the pound symbol. So for example, hashtag Rotary, like I've just put in the chat. And basically what that allows users to do on social networks is click that hashtag and then see an aggregation of all of the posts that have been tagged with that hashtag. Hope that helps.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so last bit about developing that body copy. So, to make sure that you develop that clear and inspiring message, ask yourself some of these questions. What were the outcomes? And that might lead to some data you might want to share, which is also on the list. How many people did the project affect? What are some of the relevant statistics? What changes happened because of the project? And some specific examples to show how lives were touched or how change happened. Don't forget to include your call to action or that message that tells people what you want them to do when they see this. Do you want them to learn more? Do you want them to attend a meeting, support your cause, join your club? And then you're ready to write. And then use that design template, which the next thing I'm going to do is show you within the brand center where you go and how you can actually create one. And then you're ready to put that artwork matched up with your message and get to work. So I have a quick little video demo here, which is it's just a video. There's no voiceover or anything like that. So we'll be watching it together, and I'll describe it and pause it as necessary if I need to. But you do need to have a My Rotary account. You just go to rotary.org and register for an account. It's free. totally secure, totally safe. They don't ask for a ton of information or anything like that. And we're going to show you one thing that you can do here tonight, but there's a boatload of resources and information at the My Rotary website, including the Learning Center and some other stuff that we'll be talking about in a little bit too. So you go to My Rotary, navigate to that Member Center over to the right, and then go into the Brand Center. And then once you get in, you'll see that People of Action campaign up on the left. And then hit Create Your Own under People of Action. And then you can see there's a bunch of stuff that you can create, including a club logo, which we'll talk about in a bit. But then the People of Action Facebook post there. Go ahead and hit Create. You can create print artwork and stuff like that too, but we'll just show this one for tonight. You can change the language. You can choose that verb. We'll go with mentor. And then you can use the image that's associated with that from RI, or you can upload your own. So you just click on that custom off to the right. Your window pops up, hit that little plus sign in the bottom left. It can be tough to find if it's your first time. And then just navigate to the image that you want to use. And hit that upload button on that window. That'll upload your image, then click on the image to use it, and you'll see it populate live right in the window so you can see exactly what you're going to get. And once you're ready, hit save. You can name it whatever you want to remember it for next time. And then if you refresh your browser after a certain amount of time, you'll see a live preview of exactly what it is you're going to be downloading. I didn't wait enough for the sake of this video. So once that download button lights up, go ahead and click it. And then you'll get a PDF after you acknowledge and hit download one more time. And that PDF will download likely right to your desktop, and then you're ready to go. So that is it for the People of Action campaign section. It's an awesome tool. I would encourage you to use. Every club should at least like test it or toy with it. It's a free tool available to any of us. Whether you're using it on social media and print somewhere or whatever, give it a shot and see what sticks or what works, and maybe what your club thinks about it or what new members think about it. And maybe you'll be lucky enough to say somebody joined because once upon a time they saw this cool image that you created. All right, so I'm going to transition into club logos, which as you saw in the video of the Brand Center, is another really easy tool that is built into the Brand Center for you to get your own custom club logo that fits directly into the Rotary brand. And before I show you all of that, just want to talk for just a quick minute about why it's so important. And when people think of brand, a lot of the time the first thing they think of is a logo, right? And a logo is such an important part of a brand for sure, but a brand is way, way, way more than a logo. It's, you know, the experience, it's the emotion, it's color, it's so much more than just a logo. But a logo is one of those foundational things that really contributes to brand affinity, recall, all of those things. And just a quick little example of where one tiny change to an element of brand, like color, can really influence behavior and might create some unanticipated results. And the same applies to a Rotary Club's logo and Coca-Cola, maybe on a different scale, but the same definitely does apply. In 2012, Coca-Cola temporarily put out this white can. They replaced their iconic red can, right, with the white cans featuring the polar bears for the holidays. But they had to pull it from the shelves really quick because both retailers and consumers were confused. They thought it was Diet Coke. And just that thought that came into the mind of consumers that maybe this is something different made people give feedback that it actually tasted different. So just a great example. We're all so used to the Coca-Cola Red and what we expect when we crack that open and have a sip, right? And just by changing the color of the can, we made it taste different. And think about that in the context of your Rotary Club, and think about it specifically thinking of our current Rotary brand, which is, newer, modern, fresh, and think about it compared to some of the older Rotary logos that we've seen, and unfortunately we still see circulating out there. There's a different taste with those two logos. There's a different look, there's a different feel, and it really is important that we're up to date. And Rotary's made it really easy for you to do that if you can make your way around a website, and I'll show you here in a sec too. So, oh man, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Here is a quick video that shows you exactly how to create a club logo that looks something like this. And this is a snip right out of our Rotary brand guidelines. So let's see if this works, and there should be sound here. Sarah, maybe you can give me a thumbs up if you're hearing something.
Hi, welcome to the How to Make a Rotary Club Logo video tutorial. Why is it so important for clubs to use our logos in a consistent way? Rotary logos are part of our brand and represent every one of our clubs that take action to make lasting and positive change in the world. What is Rotary's brand identity? Our brand reflects who we are and who we want to be. When people see our logos, they should immediately recognize them as Rotaries. They are the symbols of an organization taking action to make the world a better place. Clubs must use their own Rotary Club logos, like on the left of the screen, and not the official Rotary logo on the right. The official Rotary logo should only be used by Rotary International. When you are ready to create your club logo, Rotary's Brand Center has a club logo template for easy creation. Let's get started. Go to rotary.org and log in into My Rotary with your username and password. Once you're logged in to My Rotary page, navigate to Manage and then Brand Center. While on Brand Center, navigate to Logos tab at the top of the page and choose Template. This takes you to the template tool to create your own club logo. Let's start creating a logo. Put your cursor in the Insert Text box and delete the current text. Then type the name of your club or what your club is known by locally. Please don't add any other text. In the menu on the right of the screen, you can choose languages, alignments, colors, font sizes for your future logo. If your club name is too long, you can break it up into 2 or more lines by using the Enter key. When you're happy with how your club name appears, hit the Save button and then name the file in the gray pop-out box and hit the OK button. On the next page, you'll have 3 options of the file type you'd like to download. To activate all the download buttons, please wait 30 to 60 seconds and refresh the page. All of the file types, PDF, JPEG, and PNG will be available for download. Choose the file type that best suits your need and save the file to your computer. Congratulations! Now you have a Rotary logo for your club to use it on brochures, banners, name tags, flyers, graphics, your website, and anytime you promote your club in your community. Show the world who we are and who we want to be with your Rotary Club logo.
All right. I saw a question come in from Karen about, and she says, I think it's always supposed to be club of rather than club following the name. Is that right? Back to this page out of the guidelines, you can see that there is some flexibility there based on if you put the name above or below the club logo. I'll admit my own club, the Rotary Club of Marshfield Sunrise. We intentionally changed the logo because having Rotary and then Club of Marshfield Sunrise underneath was super long and felt disjointed. So ours does just say Rotary and then Marshfield Sunrise. Looking at the brand guidelines here, maybe the appropriate thing to, not even maybe, the appropriate thing to do to truly follow the guidelines would be to say Marshfield Sunrise, Rotary, and then Club. At the end of the day, you know, using the brand and using your discretion and adhering to the rules as tightly as possible, I think is important. So,
I'll just jump in, Ben. It is allowed. If you look at the bottom left logo, they have location club of blank. So if I recall correctly, also the brand standards allow for use of however the club is commonly referred to.
Right. Yeah. Okay, and speaking of those brand guidelines, another excellent tool, and thank you, Bill Hull, for reinforcing one of my favorite messages that I remember from your DG year, that the Rotary Police are woefully underpaid. It's not a reason to break the law, Bill, but that said, there is some flexibility and stuff there too, but the guidelines are there for a reason. It's super important to follow them as tightly as possible. And they're available at myrotary.org. A couple other resources for you before we go. The Learning Center, which is another excellent tool available if you have a rotary.org account, and you can go directly to the Learning Center by going to learn.rotary.org. These 5 courses are ones that I would recommend if you're just starting to kind of dip your toes into the water of Rotary's public image. The top 3 courses, Building Rotary's Public Image, the Rotary Brand, and PR in your Rotary Club, really do a great job of introducing some of those basic fundamental principles and resources for why you want to use Rotary's brand the way that they've encouraged, and definitely good information for anybody with any kind of experience in the realm of PR or anything like that, including if that experience is 0. And then the bottom 2, committing to diversity, equity, and inclusion and building a diverse club. Definitely not PI specific content within the Learning Center, but having taken those courses, I can just say it's good content that if public image is on your brain, which likely means that your appearance to the general public is on your brain, and you're probably trying to grow membership, those 2 courses, I think, just help open your mind to maybe some blind spots you might have, or things that you might want to be aware of as you're starting to put your image out into your community. And with that, back to my headphones, right? Like Sarah said, begin with the end in mind. And I'm not sure if I totally ended my story before. Maybe I did. Maybe Charlie's eyes lighting up when he heard the music was all that you needed to hear. But just a friendly reminder, think of, if you remember something from tonight, think of those headphones, think of our story living inside there, and it does no good for them to be off living in a corner somewhere. put those headphones on someone's ears, see their eyes light up. We do so many amazing things. We have an amazing, beautiful organization that does great work in all of our communities, and we need to tell our story. The old days of Rotarians putting their nose down and getting the work done and not telling anyone about it need to go away. We need to tell our story, and I hope that everything that we shared with you tonight at least creates some inspiration, or maybe put some of that into action in your clubs. So that is our presentation for the evening. What's next is us just kind of all hanging out together. And we were going to move to the House of Friendship, but we'd be doing exactly what we would be doing right here. So we're just going to hang out right here and throw any questions you have about anything we talked about tonight, or anything else that you think we might be able to help you with. We'll do our best. And if anyone's willing and they want to click that join button and share their camera and audio and join us in person, that would be cool too.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Francis.
Did you see, let's see, I think Judy said there might be a Facebook page with some, where did her question go? Over here. Are you going to mention the Rotary Graphics Facebook page?
Oh, I wasn't planning on it, but Sarah, I see you navigating. Are you finding the link?
Yeah, I'll pop it in there. There's a really active public image Facebook group for Rotary. That's wonderful. It's a nice, supportive community. Lots of good info. Most of it's on brand. So I'll pop that in the chat for everyone.
Yeah, that was going to be my one word of caution. Most of it is on brand. A lot of it is for sure, but not all of it. So proceed with just a little bit of caution, but lots of great, valuable stuff. And it's organized in a way that you might not, it being a private group, has some additional functionality compared to a regular Facebook page. You can actually, there's a section just for media and just for videos where you can click on those sections and see just all of the artwork. You don't need to see the feed and everything. So a great way to get stuff that's like ready to use right now in your club for sure. And then I'll just put another plug. One of the contributors to that page, who's an excellent follow and definitely puts out quality work that adheres to the brand and the guidelines, is Evan Burrell. So he's an Australian Rotarian that's just super active in the Rotary PI community. He's a good one to follow.
I don't see many more questions. A lot of great information in there. You can read those comments.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one out there though, and maybe both you and Sarah can give your, what would you say would be your very first, as a PI, trying to get PI started in your club, where would you, two actions that you could take that are simple but get you started and have progress?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll give my two, and hopefully we'll get lucky and Sarah will give two different ones. So you have a grab bag. But I'm a visual person. I went to school for graphic design, so immediately my mind goes to stuff that lives in that space. So one thing that we shared tonight, your club logo, like just whether you think it's accurate or not, just vet your club logo or do a mini audit on your club brand and just make sure that you're using the most current version of the Rotary logo. And with that, if you are, congratulations, that's great. Dive, and maybe Francis, I'm going to totally cheat, and this is going to be my second thing. Dive a little deeper on that and make sure that you're using it in the right way. And specifically, The new brand has two versions of it, one with the big Rotary word and then the mark of excellence with Rotary International inside of it, the wheel. So a more detailed version of the logo, which is ready to use on almost anything. I say almost because anytime you need to use it in a smaller format, like if you're using it in the top corner of your website or, overlaid over artwork and it's on the smaller side. If you're getting it embroidered anywhere, all of that detail in the full version of the logo just never comes through. So they have a simple version of the logo, which, if I'm being totally honest, I kind of wish that, the word international is just so darn important, so I get it. But I just love that simpler version of it that's without all of that detail. So admittedly, I probably use it more than I should, but I just love its cleanliness and its simplicity. So there is a simpler version of the same logo, but without the Rotary International text, and the shape is just a little cleaner and easier, definitely easier to use for like an embroiderer or a local printer if you're printing it really small or anything like that. So
Judy asked how you would know, how do clubs get it verified that you're using the right wheel? So maybe I assume that there's a page we can go to say use this wheel, those two wheels and all that you shared on the Brand Central.
Yeah, within the brand guidelines on the Rotary International website, if your logo doesn't look like what's in there, it's the wrong one. I hope I'm not like oversimplifying it or anything, and even just going to the Rotary International website and seeing the logo at the top of that site, if your club looks different, if your logo looks different than that, you're using the wrong one. And there are some past versions that, without the trained eye or whatever, I can totally understand why people think that they're using the current version, because sometimes the difference is just a matter of color, or there's a recent version of the logo that has just a stroke or like an outline around the shape, and that's not current. So
it might be good to refresh if you haven't refreshed in a while and go download.
Yeah.
Sarah, do you have two that are different than Ben by chance?
Well, I would echo Ben's sentiment. Get your logo cleaned up. That tool on Brand Center makes it really fast and easy. My second one would be think about your website, because likely the first thing people do when they hear about Rotary and maybe they're interested is look you up online, right? So that website is often the first or second impression that somebody has. So making sure that you have easy to find information about how to join and what Rotary is a big win. So.
And I'm going to hog the time because Karen put in the follow and like, and we were in membership last night and there was some discussion about how can we get about sharing and liking and how can we get more visibility. Do either one of you care to comment on the, what it means to like and how that helps and how to share, things like that?
Sarah?
To get the word out more?
Sure, yeah. Well, if we can encourage everybody to share or follow rather the district social media handles, and Ben's got the Instagram and Facebook account there. It's a great way for you to stay up to date with what's happening with the district and other clubs. Conversely, with your own clubs, making sure that you're following their social media accounts, encouraging your members to follow and share posts. The algorithms for the social media sites really favor posts that get a lot of interaction. So if you're publishing a post and nothing's really happening with it, it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's important to encourage your members to actively engage on an ongoing basis with your club's social media. What do you think, Ben? Anything to add?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head for sure. Yeah. I see Laura asked a question a bit ago about, in her questions, if a club is new to branding, what are your thoughts on reaching out to a college student that might be interested in building a portfolio? I think that would be a great resource for sure. I think if they're willing and able, and especially if they're somebody that's in school for, you know, design or marketing or anything, they're going to be familiar with what brand guidelines are. So if you can point them to that resource, that should be all they need to give them a really high potential start to get you going down the right road. Another example that I've heard is clubs actually giving a free membership to a designer or a marketer for a year to get things up and going. And it's kind of win-win in that if that member only sticks around for a year, you have just brought your brand into current state, and you probably have gotten some cool free content for that member. Obviously, the connections of the club could potentially lead to some new work and stuff, but even if they didn't get that out of it and they choose to leave, well, you know, not a huge loss there or anything. I mean, obviously it'd be ideal if you gave somebody that opportunity, you could open them to the greater Rotary world and you could turn that cool opportunity into a lifelong member for sure. But I think if you're clear about what the ideas and expectations are, that could be a really cool opportunity too. So, and say, I guess, you know, bringing it full circle to Laura's question, same thing if you're introducing a college student to Rotary and potentially giving them some portfolio work and stuff like that, make sure that they're also aware of our cool programs like Rotaract and some of the other things that we do in Rotary that might speak specifically to them. Yeah, good point, Kathy. Them having the membership would give them that access to my Rotary and get whatever they might need.
Yeah, so I'm sharing on the screen, when you log into Brand Center, if you click on the Our Image Matters heading, you'll see there's an option to download this voice and visual identity guidelines. Just a couple of pages. It's worth a read as you think about revamping your club image. It's pretty easy to understand, and certainly if you're working with a graphic artist, give this to them. It will give them the tools they need to produce really professional on-brand materials for you.
Hope I'm not missing any, but I'm looking for, I don't think I'm seeing any more questions. Wait. A while ago, Andrew asked, is there any rule against changing the entire logo to white when placing a ping or a PNG on a darker background? And there definitely is not a rule against it. In fact, it's actually encouraged when appropriate to definitely make the logo all white so that it so you get the contrast that you need for sure. I think a lot of the People of Action examples from tonight showed all of the artwork in white, the logo, the text, and everything with it. So you can use the logo, I would say, in 3, well, maybe 4 common variations. One where Rotary is in the Rotary blue, the wheel in the yellow, a reversed version of that where it looks good on a darker background, so the Rotary text is in white, but that wheel's still in yellow, and then all white and all black. So that's me diving into the brand guidelines that are stuck in my brain. There might be other options available in the brand guidelines, but those are kind of the 4 common uses that I see.
There's one more question in there from Judy about linking posts from one social media account to another.
Well, you can link your Instagram and Facebook account, and then if you initiate the post on Instagram, it can get pushed to Facebook. So that's an easy win. You can also look at automation tools like Hootsuite, although that one's really big. and probably more than what most people need. Actually, a good thing to look at is the Facebook Creator Studio. I'll pop that link in. If you're just doing Facebook and Instagram, you can schedule your posts in Facebook Creator Studio and have those published to both. So that I'll put that in there for you. Buffer is another good social media management tool. They have a nice free plan that would be just fine for what most people here are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those tools are pretty powerful, can be a big time saver. An example of use is all of the posts that you've seen for district conference were scheduled long ago for Facebook and Instagram, and just kind of like set it and forget it, and they just roll out, and that was all done using the business tool within Facebook. So Judy asks, can the PI champions help with these things? I'll say yes with dot behind it. The champions are definitely resources to connect you to all of the things that we've talked about tonight, and probably a whole bunch more stuff. But they're not the marketing department for our club. So we're definitely here to strengthen and support. As I'm saying that, like, please don't mistake that as we don't want to help, or we're not here to get our hands dirty and dig in with you or anything like that. But us doing a thing for you and saying, here you go, is not good for almost anyone involved. So we'll definitely give you the tools, show you the tools, provide some education, things like that. But just want to put that word of caution out there that to provide that kind of service to all the clubs in the district would be next to impossible. So yeah, Judy, you meant just give direction. Yeah, absolutely. Give direction is the least we'll do, for sure. Yeah, Karen mentions Club Runner and Club Runner sites getting the job done for a club website. Totally agree. They definitely get the job done. Like so many tools, Club Runner is one of those that you get what you give. You can put a ton of time and resources into Club Runner and create this big, hairy beast of a website and stuff, for sure. Or you can keep it really simple and just make sure that people can find you and get your information out there. And I'll just put a small, and this is a matter of opinion, so I'll go off the rails a little bit here, but a lot of advantages to using Club Runner, and that the district is on Club Runner. I think actually in our dashboard, that was one of the things that we checked, and I want to say 67% of our clubs are on Club Runner. So almost two-thirds of our clubs are Club Runner. So it's just, it would be more continuity throughout the district and stuff. And I'm definitely biased because our club is a Club Runner club. So take what I say for what it's worth, but really overall a pretty user-friendly experience, even if you don't have a ton of experience in website editing or anything like that. And in fact, I would probably say the only people that Club Runner frustrates are people that are familiar with other web design systems and content management systems that have a certain amount of functionality that you wish Club Runner had that it didn't. I might also just be talking about my personal experience here, so ignore me if you think I'm off my rocker. But
I'll make a plug too for there's a really wonderful quick start guide for club websites in Brand Center. If you click on that Our Image Matters tab, and then on the right you'll see downloads. The last item there is Quick Start Guide for Club Websites, and it's a really nicely put together document that outlines good best practices for your club website. I found it tremendously helpful and thoughtful, so be sure to check that out if you're thinking about doing some work on your website.
Yeah. The theme of the night may have been storytelling, but it might quickly be shifting to the brand center if you haven't picked up that tone. Holy cow, just so many great resources out there for whatever you might be trying to do. Starting a website, making sure you're using the right club logo. Definitely a tool to get familiar with. And Karen I noticed another comment from Karen earlier in the evening about the People of Action campaign and that tool. It will feel a little clunky the first time. And even as I was creating the video, and I've been in there a bunch, I was like, oh gosh, where do you add the image again? And I had to find that little plus sign, right? So, like any system, it's got its little quirks or whatever, but overall super powerful, intuitive, really easy to use. And if you do it 2 times in a relatively close time span, you're going to start to create the habit really quickly. And yeah, Gary mentioned Zoom backgrounds. There's Zoom backgrounds in there. There's a lot of good stuff. Images, templates. You can create a club brochure where you input all the information right there within the brand center, and you download a PDF that's ready to send to your local printer or to post to your website. Yeah, lots of great examples.
Yeah, there's a beautiful PowerPoint template with everybody being on Zoom right now. That's a great way to enhance your brand.
Well, we have 8 minutes left. The numbers are dwindling down a little bit, but the questions keep coming, so we'll hang out.
All right, I'll be brave and ask again, because I don't want you to go till 8:30 for sure, Ben. You don't get enough airtime.
Yeah, right.
So I think storytelling is great. I think one of the things that could even be a club activity when you get back together is just shooting a few short little videos, as Sarah was saying, sometimes 15 to 30 seconds. So any suggestions on, we all have these handy little devices. So like a couple of pro tips for taking video with your phone.
Yeah. I mean, what were you going to say?
Well, which way do you want to shoot, huh?
Yeah, right. Well, maybe depends on what you're doing with it, right? Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, on orientation?
Well, if it's going up on YouTube, right, then you want the horizontal.
Yeah.
Social media, right, then maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I guess just a couple other things to be mindful. A lot of the photography tips that were shared definitely directly apply to video, to everything from composition to emotion and stuff like that. Lighting is another pretty important thing, and this is me saying that I haven't turned the lights on in my room. I feel like I'm sitting in my basement bedroom or something like that. But so do as I say, not as I do. But lighting for sure. And there's some super powerful and really affordable lighting tools on Amazon or B&H Photos, another great site for some of that kind of equipment. You can find the higher end stuff there for sure, but really simple lights that snap right on or screw on to your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using to shoot. That little extra pop of light fills in some of those shadows, or you can create some depth and stuff like that. So lighting is something that beginners, or I don't know, lighting just doesn't get enough credit for how much it can really change what something looks like in the final output. The one challenge that a lot of people run into when they're filming something on a cell phone, especially if it's more than like that quick social media video, is file size. So another thing to maybe just get familiar with is some of the tools that you can use to transfer larger files. Some things that you might be familiar with, like Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox. There's a really cool website called WeTransfer.com that is a free large file transfer site. So great for like if you're having a bunch of people source a bunch of video and then it's all coming to one person. Some of those tools are really helpful, both for storage and for sending. I'm probably forgetting a ton of stuff as far as video goes, but we'll try and keep it simple too, I suppose.
Short, right? That's the big one.
Yeah, keep it short for sure. Yeah, even if you are shooting something that's, your intention is to tell a story, or maybe the story is just something that you can't tell in 15 seconds or whatever, and maybe being mindful of your final use is really important there too. If it's something that you're going to put it out on social media and stuff, to post a 2.5-minute video and do nothing else with it, it's unless it's just killer content, it's likely that people aren't going to make it past the first 15 or 30. We're used to just scrolling by, so.
I think Karen had a good point. Can you describe the balance between social media used for reaching out and for connecting club members to each other and to the larger Rotary world? I think maybe an important thing to note with regard to that is social media isn't about selling, right? So we shouldn't just be promoting. We should be also asking questions. Through district conference, we've been hearing a lot about community needs assessment. Maybe you can use your social media to help with that. It's about conversations and connecting. So not a hard sell message for Rotary.
Yeah, a couple mechanical things about social media that can be applied differently, like a company page or a like community page, like a lot of our clubs are definitely made to be used for that broader public audience. And then there's private groups that can be used for specific groups of people that aren't made publicly available. So there's definitely times when using a using a private group might be more appropriate. Just really be mindful of what you're trying to do with that page or that group, so that you don't inadvertently create something that's public when you don't want it to be, or you create something that's closed off and then you wish that more people were able to see it. Converting between the two might be a challenge. You might have to start from scratch. So just consider your purpose before you dive in and create something new.
And Gary had a question about protecting your photos from being used on other sites.
Any insight on that one, Sarah?
Right, it's problematic. I think the only advice I can offer is to consider adding a watermark. It would be appropriate to add the Rotary Club logo to it.
Yep, that was going to be my suggestion too.
Otherwise, you can contact the sites and ask them to take it down, but it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole sometimes. So
right,
probably not worth the effort.
Right. Well, my clock says 8:30. This was awesome. So many great questions. Holy cow. Thanks everyone for your participation. We will be sharing out all of these goodies within the couple weeks after conference here, including recordings, slide decks, all that good stuff too. So if you missed something, don't worry, you'll get a shot at it. And we're here to help. We're here to strengthen and support our clubs. And we really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Sarah?
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night.